This here's a end brace fence assembly that I built about a week and a half ago. What had happened is about a year or so ago, where this cross brace is right here, there was another one just like it here. I had a grass fire come through and burn it up, the one that was here, and a gate fell over, and I had put some temporary brace in place, but I had wanted to come back out here and fix it properly, so I sunk these. These is 2 7/8 inch pipe. Sunk it in the ground about 3.5 feet. Used the front of my tractor to push it down, and then I put concrete around it and I drilled a hole. And then came in and put these wire splices. Spliced everything back together with new wire. Basically from this point forward, it was all rusty from where the fire had burned off the galvanization off the off the fence. So I got it all put back together and hung the gate, but I didn't have the proper bolts to hang the gate, so I opted to just cut the little wood. These bolts are made to screw into the wood posts. So I cut them flat and then welded them on there and down there, and I'm just not happy with that. The gate is not quite level. It's off the ground just a little bit, so that I'm able to swing it, but it's leaning down that way, and I have now I have no way to adjust it because it's welded. So come out this morning, I'm going to cut these off and drill or cut some holes. I got some, I think they're called L bolts. Anyways, they go through here, and with nuts and washers I can actually adjust the gate. You know, because the ground's going to change. It's going to swell and rise with the seasons and over time, and I want this gate to be able to swing freely. So that's my project this morning. On. Come on. On. Come on. This is new pasture for these cows. Never been over here before. Hey, big boy. Come on. Hey, pretty girl. I always like watching animals get new pasture. I was watching Stony Ridge the other day, and he said that, and rang true. I've been saving this grass here for these cows pretty much all during the dry summer we've had. I've had some fences that I needed to build in the back, and I was waiting to get that done before I let them onto this pasture for the first time. It gets real money right here in front of me, and I don't want to rut up the gate crossing, so I'm going to swing around and then back up to it. This is a Miller Bobcat 225 welder and generator. Kind of a little welding rig my grandfather set up, and it's got an air compressor and some cutting torches. So that's what I'm going to be using this morning. Need some hearing protection. This welder is very loud. Let's see if we can get her cranked up. So, starting on October 1st, I started working on this fence. The old property boundary is that raggedy looking fence there, and so I decided to bring the new fence line in a few feet for a few reasons. One of them being there's a whole lot of great big oak trees, especially going back that way on the fence line, that would have just taken ages and a lot of money to get a dozer in to clean up. I had to do some chainsaw work, but with me moving the fence line in a little bit, it kind of limited the amount of cleanup I had to do. The other reason I brought it in on my side of the boundary is down here in this corner. This was an existing corner brace that ran right here, and I wanted to attach into it, and it was built off the property boundary also. So you can see the really old fence line used to be right through here. This brace was sunk off the boundary, so I just came off of it And I welded that corner brace. Did 6-strand wire fence. And in April I had a mulcher come out and clear this pathway because this was all overgrown. It all looked much just like that. But there was a couple places he couldn't get to, and so I still had to do, like I said, some chainsaw work. But I did spacing on my T-post. I did 12 feet just to kind of save a little bit. I usually do 10 feet spacing between post to post. But I did 12, and I think that's going to be perfect as it is. And then I did a line post every 120, I think 125 feet, something like that. I don't know if I mentioned it's 1,000 feet long. So it took me a couple weeks. I'd come out here on the four-wheeler every afternoon. And I was waiting until October 1st because I was thinking that'd be a good time when the temperatures are nice and cool. Well, first part of October it was hot as heck. And that was a challenge. And then after that it just started raining, and it didn't stop raining for weeks. So that's also been a challenge. There's another line post, and I welded these clips on here to keep the fence in place if the cows come and push on it, and then I capped all the posts. So down way at the other end there's a creek, and you can see where it gets kind of thick with the trees. There's a creek way down there. Zoom in. You can see down there, there's the other line post that I built, or line brace that I built. Same as just the other one. And I think it was about 80 T-posts in total. And I really debated a lot on if I should build the fence inside my boundary. I didn't want to do it that way, but as you saw down there, near the creek area, it just gets so thick, and where it grew up on the old fence boundary, I just decided it was going to cost too much money and time to get that done, to get it cleaned out. Plus, I don't own the land on the other side of the fence, and I don't know the neighbors. And instead of having to deal with all that, I just decided to make my life a little easier and just come inside my fence boundary a little bit. But it should work, and it kind of serves as kind of a double fence barrier. That's kind of a living boundary behind there, and with 6-strand barbed wire fence, I don't think I will ever have a problem. I've known people that build fence boundaries around their gardens, and they'll do kind of a double fence barrier. So they'll do like a fence line like I have, and then a few feet behind it do another one, and what that serves as kind of a 3-dimensional object that deer and other animals can't figure out how to get around it. So as kind of a third reason why I did it this way, I guess you could say I left the old fence in place and built a new one. Is it if the 3-dimensional barrier works for deer, it ought to work for my cows. So anyways, I'm gonna get back up to the front and work on that gate that I was showing you. That trailer there is full of junk from all the stuff I pulled off of that fence over there. Old wire, and you see my 3-point auger, fence posts. And there were some pallets. The previous owners of this property used pallets as fence repair, but whatever works. And those gates were also used to clear or patch a bad spot in the fence back there. But as you could see when I showed you, that old fence was in pretty ratty condition, and in fact I didn't actually show you the worst part of it. It was pretty much completely down the closer you got to the creek down there. So as soon as it ever dries up, I'll take the trailer, I'll burn all the old fence posts, and then the metal, scrap metal, I'll take to scrap, and those pallets are good for keeping stuff up off the ground. Okay, let's put this gate together. Alright, let's see. That's a properly hung gate in my opinion. Now I've got some adjustability. As the gate sags over time, I'm sure it will. But I'm happy with that now. And the space over here is real nice. Good clearance there. Good clearance off the ground. So small victories in life.